Somersloops are a strange alien object with a familiar shape. They glow an unnatural red and purple hue and whisper unnerving commands to you. To top it off, they are only found seemingly growing out of the ground in hard-to-reach places or areas guarded by fierce monsters. Everything about them indicates you should run away as far as possible in the opposite direction. Yet instead, you follow the commands. You harvest. And you'd be making the right choice because they are one of the most powerful items in Satisfactory. Harnessing the power of Somersloops can fundamentally change your game and even break the rules of how the world works. Let's take a look at why you'll want to harvest these strange alien artifacts. To start, let's cover the absolute basics of Somersloops. They are a limited resource in the game with only 106 of them found in the world. They are collectible items and are found in hard-to-reach places, often guarded by enemies or natural obstacles. You can find them faster with the help of the object scanner after researching it in the MAM. These items didn't do anything before the 1.0 release, but were a work-in-progress collectible that was scattered around the world. Now, the Somersloop has only 2 uses, both of which break the laws of physics themselves and are going to be very valuable in your playthrough. The first is the Alien Power Augmenter. The Power Augmenter research can be found in the MAM under the Alien Technology Research Tree. Between this and the research to unlock Somersloops in the object scanner, you're going to use up 2 of your 106 Somersloops that are in the world. Once you unlock this research, you will be able to build the Alien Power Augmenter. These massive buildings contain 10 Somersloops as part of their recipe, so you will be limited to just building 10 of these in your entire game. And for balancing reasons, this is actually kind of a good thing, because Alien Power Augmenters generate 500 megawatts of power merely by existing. They don't require fuel or anything, they just generate 500 megawatts completely for free. On top of that, they add a power boost to your entire grid. By default, you will get a 10% power boost, but as you add more augmenters, that boost will get higher. So you'll have a 20% boost if you have 2 of them, and a 100% boost if you have all 10. Also keep in mind that each augmenter adds 500 megawatts, so you're getting that added to your base amount before the multiplier is applied. So to use a basic example, if you had 10,000 megawatts as your base, one augmenter would grant you a new power production of 11,550 megawatts, while 10 augmenters would grant you 30,000 megawatts. Now that's triple the power. But of course, since the 500 megawatts is a flat number that's added on, this has a much larger impact on small power grids and is less impactful as the game goes on and your grid gets larger. For example, if you make 10 augmenters and your grid is only 1,000 megawatts somehow, 10 augmenters will multiply your power by a whopping 12 times. And if your grid makes 100,000 megawatts, or higher pretty much, it will roughly double it thanks to that 100% boost pulling most of the weight. By that point, there are of course diminishing returns, but double is still double. Later on in the game, you can increase your multiplier from 10% to 30%. This can be done by supplying a power augmenter with 5 alien power matrices per minute. These late game items serve as a special fuel for the augmenters, and these will provide a massive power boost, vastly outperforming your power grid versus the 10% boost, although it is not cheap. You won't be using these until the extreme late game. Now, power is great and all, but the real strength of the Somersloop comes from production amplification. Researching this will cost you a Somersloop, so after all the research, you'll be left with only 103. Production amplification allows you to insert Somersloops into a production building to multiply its output without requiring additional input materials. So essentially you get free production. Well, not completely free, as it does come at the cost of significantly more power. A non-overclocked machine will consume 4 times as much power slooped as compared to not slooped. The maximum amount of amplification is double, and different buildings require different numbers of Somersloops in order to achieve that 100% boost. Smelters and constructors require 1, assemblers, foundries, refineries, and converters require 2, and manufacturers, blenders, particle accelerators, and quantum encoders require 4. If a building has less than the maximum, it will increase production by the appropriate percentage, so only 1 sloop in a manufacturer, for example, would provide a 25% boost. Any buildings that I didn't just mention on that list cannot be slooped. Because Somersloops are limited resources, it's recommended that you only use them on items that are in the end of a production chain. For example, there's so much iron ore in the world that you should never need to amplify the production of iron plates. So Somersloops can be an excellent bandage solution to a factory that just can't easily receive enough of some material. They're also great to use temporarily to jumpstart a production line. But I'm not here to talk about that aspect. You can use Somersloops that way however you need them for your factory. No, rather what I think production amplification is best used for is making the most of recipes that use ingredients that you can't automate. The most critical and limited recipe that you'll want to use Somersloops on is power slugs. Power slugs are a limited, although somewhat plentiful resource, and create power shards, which are used for overclocking. I recommend not producing any power shards until you unlock production amplification, if you're able to avoid it, as you can't turn that shard back into a slug. Slooping power shard production means you have access to double the amount of naturally occurring power shards as you normally would. It can also be useful to process alien remains with slooped machines. They will make extra alien protein, which will then be made into alien DNA capsules, which can also be slooped. This means if you sloop both machines in this system, you'll end up with 4 times the alien DNA capsules that you otherwise would have, which is a lot of points for the awesome sink. Less important, but still relevant, is biomass. You can sloop biomass production as well as the production of solid biofuel. If you're able to unlock production amplification early on in the game by finding enough circuit boards at a crash site, then your early game power woes will be far less painful. All of these items are made in a constructor, which means you only need 1 Somersloop per item. I actually like to make a whole little mini factory for these things. I set up a storage container with a single belt coming out of it, and a whole bunch of smart splitters off of that. From them, I have constructors set to process leaves, wood, each of the different creature remain types, and each of the different slug colors. Each of these constructors is slooped, and then I can dump these harvestable items into the storage container when I stop by my main base and let the system process them. Power shards can go to a dimensional depot uploader, fuel can do the same or go on to another production line, and alien DNA capsules can go to an awesome sink. This simple factory requires just 11 Somersloops, and make sure that you make the most out of non-automated items. And since it's mostly getting sunk or uploaded, this system doesn't have to be optimized, and in fact it's easier if you just have 1 machine per item so that you are efficient with your Somersloops. Everything will process through eventually. I hope you found this video helpful and that you've learned something about Somersloops. Really, the tip that inspired this video was using production amplification to boost your production of power shards, and I'm sure there is at least one viewer out there who hadn't thought of that before. So if you did like this video, be sure to let me know with a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Satisfactory News video.